Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
God bless our homeland, God.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In light of the independence holidays that we are celebrating in Ghana, I decided to read with all of us 3 topics from this book that is one very interesting literature material, 3 topics that are very pivotal to independence, the topic independence and almost everything about it. I think there are 3 things. The independence itself, which is freedom, and then also nationalism, being nationalistic as well, and then also governance and the people. I realize that the book covers these 3 topics. It's a literature device, it's a literature material that has very beautiful Arabic language in it, but we are not going to read it academically, as in removing the words and singularly discussing every single thing in there. We are just going to read it to understand the topics, to get the topics and the valuables in it. But I'm sure in the coming days, we are going to take them topic after topic and discuss each topic in the book, just as we treat any other material. In the arrangement of the material, the 3 topics that I mentioned are arranged in such a manner that you get the people and governance, or the nation and governance, coming first before nationalism coming after that, and then you get freedom as the third in terms of the sequence. They don't follow each other in the arrangement of the material though, but in terms of sequence, that's how they come. But we would be reading it in this arrangement, where we read the Al-Hurriya first, yani today, which is the seat of March. We read the freedom, which is the independence, the core meaning of the independence. We read it today, and then tomorrow, Friday, inshallah, we will read the people and governance, and then on Saturday, hopefully, we close it with the nationalism, that is the Al-Wataniya. So we have the topics in this arrangement: Al-Hurriya, freedom, and then we have Al-Ummat wal-Hukuma, the people and the government, and then also we have Al-Wataniya, that is the nationalism. So that is the sequence that we are going to read it. Today we are looking at the Al-Hurriya. It's a bit lengthy, but we are going to be fast about it. Al-Hurriya, when we say Al-Hurriya, emanating from the verb Al-Hurr, when we say Al-Hurr, we mean the free person. The free person, and also Al-Hurr means somebody that is sane. So you hear a lot the parable or the proverb, Al-Hurru takfihi al-isharatu. The free person, an indication is enough for the free person. Yani, if you have a wise person sitting by you, you can just blink your eye, you can just give a signal for the person to stop something they are doing, or to go ahead, or to make a move. That is a sensible person or a sane person will get this signal. So they say in Arabic, al-hurru takfihi al-ishara. And so we take these 2 meanings. I would like us to put these 2 meanings together in the meaning of al-hurriya. When we say freedom, it just doesn't mean any kind of freedom, because anybody can be free in any way. You can be free in a very stupid manner. Forgive my language. That is, you can be free because you are the notorious person available, so around the hood, so nobody comes at you with any attack, or nobody, so you are free in that sense. That is not freedom. That is not hurriya, because in that case the hurriya doesn't have hikmah in it. You are free because you are a terror to people. So in that case, you yourself, you are enslaved by your desires, you are enslaved by your emotions or your cognitive system. So al-hurriya here, let us understand it to mean being free, but in the best possible manner. Good. So, Ustaz is going to take us through it. This, to introduce the book lightly, the book is filled with articles that Sheikh Mustafa Al Galayini used to publish in a newspaper. He used to be a journalist as well as a literateur. He used to be a scholar, and so he used to write articles to be published in a book. And people suggested to him, these articles you are writing, put them together and make a book out of it, so that later generations like we are benefiting now, because he was born somewhere 1844 and died somewhere the early 19th. So as is suggested to him, he made it into a book. So the topics, he put them all together like that. He says al-hurriyatu inna lil umama inna lil umami ajalan. He says, Inna lil umami ajalan wa ajalu kulli ummatin yawma tafqidu hurriyataha. Every nation has its decreed time. You hear of the Ottoman Empire, you hear of the Roman Empire, you hear of the empires like that, but their time came, as if they will never end, but their end came. And then he says, the end of every nation is determined by when they lose their freedom. This is a very profound statement. Inna lil umami ajalan. Indeed, there are decreed times for every nation, and the decreed time for every nation is when the day the nation loses its freedom. It says al-hurriyatu hibatun min al-khaliq lil mahluk. Freedom is a gift that the Creator gave to the creations. It says يصرفها فيما يعود على نفسه وعلى غيره بالسعادة والخير. This creation uses the freedom in a manner that brings to himself and the people around him happiness and also goodness. So when the person is free, that is why I said that the hurriya should be understood in the best possible manner. When a person is free, he uses it in a manner that brings him benefit, happiness, like we are all enjoying marching around and all this in such holidays. So we use the freedom in that manner, and also in a manner that brings joy and goodness to everybody around us. It says, وَتَدُلُّ فِي اللُّغَةِ عَلَى مَعْنَى الْخُلُوصِ. In Arabic language, typical Arabic language, the word hurriya, what is its root? Its root points to al-khulus, that is pureness, that is clearness, being clear from some impurity, being pure from some impurity. So as for al-hurru, if you say the free person, khilaful abdi, that is the opposite of the servant or the slave. Why? Because likhulusihi min ar-riq, because the free person is free from the meaning sense of slavery. Ar-riq bimana you being owned by somebody. It says wa hurru kulli shay'in khiyaruhu. When we say hurru, let me just use the books for example. Let me just say hurru al-kutub bimana or al-hurru min al-kutub bimana I mean the best of it. When we say the hurr of everything, that is the best of that particular thing. And he says wal-hurru min at-tin wal-ramli huwa at-tayyib minha. When we say al-hurru min at-tin wal-raml, yani the best of the sand and the soil, that is what we mean, the best of the soil and the sand. Huwa at-tayyib minhuma, that is the best part of it. So you can see the land, but then you have the part that is al-hurr in the land. And then he says, وَرَمْلَةٌ حُرَّةٌ. When we say رَمْلَةٌ حُرَّةٌ, Ramla is the sand. I don't know, does it have any? That is you see the sea sand, the way it shows, that is Ramla. So وَرَمْلَةٌ حُرَّةٌ, literal meaning of the hurra, bimana the free sand, not the free sand. What it means is, ay صَالِحَةٌ لِلْإِنْبَاتِ. That is the sand that is good for growing crops or growing things. وحر كل أرض أطيبها. And the free, when we say حر كل أرض, أي حر هذه الأرض بمعنى the best part of this land. So the moment we say something is al-hurr, bimana the thing is pure, the thing is the best form of it. So if we say a person is free, he must be the best person that he can. He must be the best form of himself. It says فأنت ترى أن هذه المادة عفوا فأنت ترى أن هذه المادة تدل على الطهارة والجودة. وخلوص الشيء مما يكدر صفاءه وجودته. He says that when you see that this word, it is pointing to, its meaning is pointing to at-tahara, that is purity, cleanliness, wal-juda, and also being complete. We have al-jawda, that is the quality, something being refined, being quality. But then Sheikh uses al-juda here. I don't know of other manuscripts, but mine is a very old print. Al-juda, that is being complete, being full. وخلوص الشيء مما يكدر صفاءه وجودته, and something being free from the things that will pollute its cleaning, its purity, and also its completeness. Then he says والحر بالمعنى المدني الصحيح والحر بالمعنى المدني الصحيح من كان خالص التربية نقي النفس متمسكا بالفضائل. He says when we say al-hurr بالمعنى المدني صحيح, with the right meaning that we can hold on to now, من كان خالص التربية, somebody that has pure nurturing, he has had a good nurturing, that is his upbringing wasn't polluted by any impurities. نقي النفس, has a pure soul. متمسكا بالفضائل, holds on to virtues, everything good, cleanliness, love, empathy, sympathy, kindness, benevolence, all these virtues, the person holds on to it. Nafiran min al-raza'il, the person runs away from vices, anything that is a vice, insulting people, fighting here and there, causing commotion here and there, that person is not qualified to be al-hur. Kasiran anhu quyud al-ubudiyya, such a person also breaks away the chains of slavery. So all these things need to be available in a person that you call al-hur, the free person. The person has to have all these characteristics embedded in them. And then he says, عاملا بما يطلبه منه الواجب, and the person does what is required of him. And in all of us being citizens, we are seeing that today there is a lot of awakening. People are doing cleanliness here and there. We are seeing a lot of good happening around us. That is how we should be. We must do what is required at any point in time. You are, as a citizen, not supposed to throw away that rubbish anyhow. You are not supposed to litter indiscriminately. You are not supposed to just be doing things roughly because you feel you can do it. That is not freedom. You are not free to do all those things. The moment you do them, you are enslaved by something. And then he says, إن الإنسان لم يخلق ليكون عبد غيره ولا ليكون كرة تتقاذفه الأهواء. He says that a person wasn't created to be a slave to another. Neither was he created to be a ball that is passed by people's emotions, that is rolled or flinged by people's emotion. So you are not supposed to be at the mercy of another's emotion. I want you to sweep, I want you to do that, I want you to do this. You are, in that case, you are a slave. That is not why you were created. It says وَتَعْمَلُ عَلَى تَحْرِيكِهَا أَيْدِي الزُّعَمَاء وَتُصَرِّفُهَا حَسْبَ رَغَائِبِهَا نُفُوسُ الْكُبَرَى. He says also, the hands of people who are in power, zu'ama, the hands of people who are in power, they work to move you around and also turn you about per their desires. As we all see today in our systems, you find that somebody just wants you to go and fight. You know that this thing you are going to do is very dangerous, it's chaotic, it can cost your life. But because that is what the za'im, that is what the boss desires, you go for it. So Sheikh is telling us that in such a case, you are not a free person. وَتَعْمَلُ عَلَى تَحْرِيكِهَا أَيْدِي الزُّعَمَاء. The hands of people in power, they move you about how they wish. وَتُصَرِّفُهَا حَسْبَ رَغَائِبِهَا. And they move you around as they wish to, as per their low self-desires. The nufus al-kubara. Says بل خلق ليعمل منفردا ومجتمعا بمقتضى السنة الإلهية العامة وهي الحرية. A person is created to work individualistically or pluralistically, or however I said, you are created to work alone or to work in a group per the dictates of the divine manner of life. And the divine manner of life is that everybody was created free. Every person was created free. And so that is the as-sunnah al-ilahiyya al-am. You either are functioning alone or you are functioning in a group, but you are functioning as a free person, not a slave. Let's not confuse this with you having a responsibility or you being delegated to do something or a boss asking you to do something. That is not slavery. That is you doing what the wajib requires you to do. Then it says, وَلَمْ تُطْلَبْ هَذِهِ النِّعْمَةُ أو هذه النعمة ولم تطلب هذه النعمة الربانية الكبرى من كثير من الناس إلا بسبب ما أفسده الظالمون من نفوسهم. This great value that we have, the freedom we are enjoying now, it has been bastardized, but it wasn't just bastardized like that. What caused the bastardization of this great divine gift that we have been given? The Zalimun, the oppressors, don't think of the oppressors as the West and these Europeans and now you are free. The freedom that we are enjoying now, people don't still value it. And what has caused this bastardization of this freedom? It has been bastardized by people who still want to rule, but they are among us. They want to tyrannize us and they are among us. They first of all bastardize the concept of freedom. That is, they spoil the meaning of it, so you don't actually understand it. So somebody thinks he's free, but he has gymed and he has big muscles, bigger than mine, of course, and can terrorize others. And so somebody tells him, go and beat this person, go and seize that, go and kill that. And he goes about doing that. Such a person, the concept of freedom has been bastardized in you. You don't understand it again. When people are using you like that, you are not free. The concept of freedom has been bastardizing you. And then he says, فَلَمْ يَدَعُوا إِلَى تَنْوِيرِ أَذْهَانِهِمْ بِالْعِلْمِ سَبِيلًا. These oppressors, they do not also allow a path for you to go through to enlighten people's minds about what freedom really is. Why? He will tell us. He says, لأن الظالمين يعلمون يقينا أن العلم الصحيح يهدي إلى معرفة الحقوق. Because the one oppressing you now knows very well that the true knowledge, when you get the good knowledge of what freedom is, and you are very enlightened, you can't be enslaved again. So he says, يهدي إلى معرفة الحقوق. Knowing that leads to you knowing your right. So as a citizen now, most of us, we do not really know our rights in a lot of stands. We just living in the country. So a lot of us are oppressed, but we don't even know our right in the first place. And the one oppressing you doesn't want to leave a way for you to be educated. So if there is any platform for you to be educated on that which is good, the person will stand in it, in his path, and try to block it. And then he says, فَهُوَ الشَّرَارَةُ الَّتِي تُوقِدُ فِي النُّفُوسِ الْهِمَمِ. This, the knowledge, al-ilm al-sahih, the true knowledge, is the spark of fire that lies enthusiasm in the people. وتربع بالآكل أن يكون آلة تديرها المحركات الاستبدادية. And this true knowledge, if you have it, it raises you above the standard that you can be used just as a tool by the oppressive systems. The system set in place to oppress us and take our rights from us. And take our rights from us. These systems that have been set, the moment you know what you are entitled to, what happens? Such systems will fall. And so, of course, you can't be used by them again. And so they don't want you to be enlightened. Said, وَقَدْ قَالَ عُمَرُ بْنُ الْخَطَّابِ, the Khalifa, he has said to Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As, by far, I think, is the first envoy to Egypt. The first Islamic envoy to Egypt. And you know, the Egypt then, they were Coptics. Till date, there are still the Coptics there. So Amr ibn As was the one heading the Islamic setting there. So Sayyidina Umar once said to him, يَوْمَ ضَرَبَ وَلَدُهُ الْقِبْطِ, a day that Sayyidina Umar saw that the son of Amr ibn As has beaten one of the Coptics. Sayyidina Umar said to him, Sayyidina Umar was the Khalifa at the time of the Muslims. He said to him, مَتَى اسْتَعْبَدْتُمُ النَّاسَ, since when did you enslave the people? وَقَدْ وَلَدَتْهُمْ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ أَحْرَارًا, while their mothers had given birth to them as free people. When their mothers had given birth to them as free people, when do you start enslaving them? That you are already, your children are beating them. Very profound something that he asked him. Says, Ala inna al-hurra la yakunu hurran. The free person cannot be said to be a free person. Illa idha tahadhabat nafsuhu, except when his nafs has been well nurtured. Yani everything that corrupts it has been taken out. That is tahdhibun nafs. That is tazkiyatun nafs. Taking out anything that corrupts the nafs from it. وَنَمَتْ فِيهَا مَلَكَةُ الْإِرَادَةِ, and willpower grows in it. So you are well nurtured and then you have willpower. There is one thing we must know. When you have willpower, malakatul irada, but your nafs doesn't have a good tarbiyah, you cause a lot of chaos. You become a tyrant yourself. وَحَظِيَ مِنَ الْإِلْمِ الصَّحِيحِ بِحَظٍ غَيْرِ قَلِيلٍ, and the person, after getting good nurturing, after getting the willpower, and also gets a good volume of knowledge. Knowledge cannot be left out. ثم أقدم على تحرير نفسه من ربق من يملكها بالقوة والجبروت. He says, and then you move on to free yourself from the loops of the one that is owning you with strength and oppression, al-jabarut. So he compares us to like having ropes around our necks. That is the ribaq, singular of which is ribqa, the loops that we use to tie animals. So after getting good nurturing, good volume of knowledge, having the willpower, before you move on to free yourself. Sometimes when you are still dumb and you free yourself, you suffer. You need to have all these things before you free yourself. He says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ كَذَلِكَ فَقَدْ شَسَعَتْ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ الْحُرِّيَّةِ الْمَصَارِفِ. So if a person is not like this, then between such a person and freedom, there is a very vast gap, a very vast distance. وَكَانَ بَيْنَهُمَا مَفَاوِزُ جَمَّةَ الْمَخَاوِفِ. وَكَانَ بَيْنَهُمَا مَفَاوِزُ جَمَّةُ الْمَخَاوِفِ. And between him and freedom, there is a large volume of wilderness. It is like you standing on one side and freedom is on one side, and between the two of you, there is a very vast forest of scary animals. So basically, you are, as he says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ كَذَلِكَ. So basically picking from the ثُمَّ أَقْدَمَ عَلَى تَحْرِيرِ نَفْسِهِ مِنْ رِبَقِ مَنْ يَمْلِكُهَا بِالْقُوَّةِ وَالْجَبَرُوتِ, and you move on to free yourself from the one that is owning you with strength and oppression. Whoever is not like this, then فَقَدْ شَسَعَتْ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ الْحُرِّيَّةِ الْمَسَاوِفِ. Between such a person and freedom is a very wide gap. وَكَانَ بَيْنَهُمَا مَفَاوِزُ جَمَّةُ الْمَخَاوِفِ. And there is between him and freedom a very vast volume of forest. So in that case, you are nowhere close to freedom. And if you are on one side and between yourself and freedom, there is a vast volume of wilderness, then you are very far away from freedom. It says, لَيْسَ بِالْحُرِّ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ الْحُرِّيَّةَ عُنْوَانًا لِلرَّذَائِلِ. The person that takes freedom as a pathway to vices is not a free person. وَرُمْحًا يَطْعَنُ بِهِ الْفَضِيلَةِ. And he takes freedom as a spear with which he pierces virtues. عفوا وطريقا للمفاسد. And he takes freedom as a path to corrupt behaviors. وسيفا يجتاب به أردية العفة. And he takes freedom as a sword with which he cuts through the cloth of chastity. So because you are free, you are strong, you just misbehave anyhow, you go against all moral values, you are not to be called a free person. وَرُمْحًا يَطْعَنُ بِهِ الْفَضِيلَةِ, and he takes it as an arrow with which he pierces virtues. وَسَهْمًا يُمَزِّقُ أَعْرَاضَ النَّاسِ, and he takes it as an arrow with which he tears up people's value. So you take freedom as a way of cutting people down. When somebody is supposed to go forward, you fight all your way to cut such a person down. A second. Jamil says, وَلَيْسَ مِنَ الْحُرِّيَّةِ أَنْ يَفْعَلَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا يَضُرُّ بِهِ وَبِغَيْرِهِ. It is not of freedom for a person to do that which harms him and harms others. As we said in the beginning, freedom must bring you happiness and goodness and bring others likewise. Min israfi fil amwal, because you are free, you are extravagant in money, using wealth. Wa ida'atin lil insaniya, and also throwing away all cause of humanity. Anything that is humanitarian, you don't pay attention to it. Wa ibahatin lil munkarat, and also allowing everything that is disliked. Oh, go ahead and do it. You are free. Do this. You are free. Oh, you can do it. Nobody will say anything. You are free. Allowing everything that is disliked. وَسَعْيٌ فِي إِفْسَادِ الْهَيْئَةِ الْإِجْتِمَاعِيَّةِ, and striving to destroy the social setting, social environment that we live in. بِمَا يَأْتِيهِ مِنْ دُرُوبِ الْإِيذَاءِ وَالنَّمِيمَةِ وَالْغِيبَةِ. With what a person does, yani you tear up the social fabric with what you do of either yani harming others or harming the environment. وَالنَّمِيمَةِ, and also tale bearing, and you carry stories around. وَالْغِيبَةِ, and slandering people. وَالْعُدْوَانِ, and enmity. Enmity, you hate this one severely, you hate that one, holding on to a lot of grudge. وَغَيْرِ ذَلِكَ, and other things, مِن نَقَائِصِ الْأَخْلَاقِ, of things that take away from people's morals. Any things that when it is with you, it takes away from your value. May Allah save all of us from these kind of things. It's a canker that everybody, definitely one of these things affects you, and may Allah save all of us from it. It says, إِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ يَدَّعِي الْحُرِّيَّةَ وَقَدْ لَبِسَ لُبُوسَ الْعُبُودِيَّةِ فهو أسير لشهواته عبد لزعمائه وأمرائه مملوك لنفسه الأمارة. He says that a lot of people, everybody is claiming to be free. Everybody is claiming to be free, but is that the reality? He says no, but then we've worn the clothes of slavery, and you find the person claiming that the person is a slave to his low self-desires and is a servant to the leaders, the people in charge of authority. The person is a slave to them, and the person is owned by his nafs. This nafs, the Quran describes the very first stage of the nafs, and nafsul ammara to be su. The nafs itself will be causing you, go and insult this one, fight this one, you can beat him, retaliate, you are stronger, go and rape this one, go and do that. Go. All these things, it is the soul that is dirty, that is not purified, that is giving you these signals. And so you find a person being a slave to these things and he thinks he's free. No. تَدْفَعُهُ إِلَى الْمُوبِقَاتِ فَيُجِيبُ. Your nafs will call you to things that will kill you, and you respond. You hear somebody, we've heard it a lot in the societies that we come from. They went to fight in a community and he was killed. They went on a particular land to go and fight and he was killed. He went to shoot this and he was killed. You realize that the person, why did you even go? It was the low self-desires whispering to the person, can do it, you are stronger, do that, do that. And so you push and you respond. For yujibu, the person responds and it ends him losing his life. It says وَتَحْفِظُهُ إلى السعاية بغيره والضرر به فيطير إلى تلبيتها. The nafs motivates him that go and harm this person, fight that person, as we said. Then the person jumps to respond to what the nafs is calling him or her to. It says وَإِنْ دَعَاهُ دَاعِ الْعَقْلِ إِلَى مَا يُحْيِيهِ وهاب به هادي الوجدان إلى ما يعليه وناداه منادي الشهامة إلى ما ينهض بشعبه ويقويه. What does he do? Says تصام عن النداء. Says that when da'il aql, when somebody that is sensible calls him to that which will cause him to live and enjoy life, and a person calls him, the call of the what's it called, conscience comes to him, this thing you're going to do will be very bad. Why don't you stop it? When such a call comes to him, a call that would have lifted his level, and somebody calls him to that which is gallantry. Let's go and clean this place. Let's go and weed this cemetery. It's too weedy. Let's go and do that. Let's go and do things that will raise the country, the image of the place you are, things that will raise your own image. When he's called to these things, that which will raise the image of his people or raise his own image and strengthen him, what does he do? Tasama aninida. What does tasama mean? He forces or he feigns deafness. He feigns to be deaf. He claims that he's deaf. I can't hear you. And he goes ahead with it, with whatever bad stuff he's doing. أو سلق طريق المراء ثم هو بعد ذلك, or the person you find him سلك طريق المراء, he takes the part of argument. Let's go and clean this. Oh, if you do it, what will happen? This cannot argument, everything good the person is arguing. ثم هو بعد ذلك يدعي أنه إنسان حر, and after all this person will be claiming I'm free. He says وما الإنسانية والحرية إلا عاملان الأمران وركنان للاجتماع. إنسانية, humanity, and حرية, freedom. These two are nothing but the two workers of civilization. They both work hand in hand to grow civilization. And they are both two pillars of society, building the society. It says أية أمة أرادت أن تكون في ذروة من الحضارة سامية ومكانة من السعادة عالية فعليها أن تربي أفرادها على الحرية الصحيحة. Any nation that wants to gain true civilization and be high, considered high in the level of civilization, and to be seen with a high level of happiness, at least most of the population should be highly happy, then this ummah must focus on raising its people with the good understanding of what freedom is, as we are doing now. وتغذي أبناءها بدرها الطهور الخالص. And the nation and the people, they must feed the upcoming ones, they must feed themselves with the pure milk of the freedom, pure milk of what freedom is. It says, فَانْهَضُوا أَيُّهَا النَّاشِئُونَ. So rise up. That is the style of the book. At the end of every topic, he would advise the upcoming youth. That is the title of the book, Izzatun Nashi'in, admonition to the youth. So at the end, he says, فَانْهَضُوا أَيُّهَا النَّاشِئُونَ. So rise up, O you youth, إِلَى الْحُرِّيَّةِ الْخَالِصَةِ, to the pure understanding of freedom. الْخَالِيَةِ مِنْ شَوَائِبِ الْمُدَلِّسِينَ. That is free from the corruptions of the scammers. That is free from the stains. That is free from the dirt that the corrupt people have put in it. فَإِنَّهَا سَبِيلُ النَّجَاةِ. Because the true understanding of freedom is the path to success. وَهِيَ الْحَيَاةُ السَّعِيدَةِ. And the true understanding of freedom is the true life of happiness, is the true happy life. With this, we come to the end of the first topic, which is Al-Hurriya in the book Izzat al-Nashi'in, which is the first session we are going to have. May all of us get the good understanding of what freedom really is and not overuse it. What take away from this is that freedom is supposed to be pure. It's supposed to move hand in hand with wisdom. You cannot be dumb and be free. You cannot be a tyrant and be said to be free, because you are a slave to your nafs, you are a slave to your self, the dictates of your low self-desires. Your low self-desire want to feel like a king, always you want to feel on top, and so you are tyrannizing the people. That is not freedom. So being free, you have to be free from yourself, you have to be free from others. And your freedom must bring you happiness and goodness, and it must bring others happiness and goodness. Till we meet again on our next topic, Al-Ummatu wal-Hukuma. See you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.